Pike, and it's the Better Ideas Podcast, Episode 3. It's going well. Third try's a charm. This is going to be the best episode yet. I'm going to say that every episode, but it will be the best one yet. And it's going to be with my good friend Jordan Rebman of Sweet Ascent. Before we get to that, I'm going to give you guys a couple of updates on Better Ideas and what we're doing and how the band's doing, because we got a drummer. We've been without a drummer, without our good friend RJ for about 7 or 8 months, and we haven't really played too many shows. We've had a fill-in here and there, but we kind of haven't been at 100% for a while. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, and I'm happy to say that we have a full band, and we will be show ready within weeks. And I'm excited to get back out there and get out in front of you people. So that is very exciting. I also have almost $3,000 saved up that I plan on putting towards a van. And that van is going to be my personal vehicle. I'm trying all that I can to get rid of my car, even though I have debt, and I'm trying to figure that situation out. But with this van, I plan on using it as the tour vehicle for the band, and I'm gonna see where the podcast goes from here. But it's going really good so far, and I definitely wouldn't mind traveling with that either. So we'll see where that goes. We also have our EP in progress and almost completed. We will have a single coming out here pretty soon. The next song is called Insomnia. And it's one that I wrote in high school, and it stood the test of time, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear it. So that's gonna be fun. It is done, vocals, guitars, everything. We are just waiting on the master process. We're waiting on our good friend John to finish mixing and mastering and getting it sounding all good, and then we're gonna show it to everybody. So I'm stoked for that one. If you guys didn't catch the Earthgroans announcement last week, May 4th, I believe, by the time you're hearing this, it might be quite a bit later, but Earthgroans got signed to Solid State Records. If you guys don't know who that is a very big deal, especially for a small band out of our scene. Just to go from where they are now to Solid State Records is going to be a lot more exposure than they're used to, and I'm so happy for them, and I'm so excited to watch them grow, and I think they're going to get pretty big because they're just the most lovable guys, and their music is awesome, and I don't see them giving up anytime soon. And with a label like Solid State backing them, they're pretty much unstoppable. So I'm so excited. Congratulations, guys. I love you, and you're awesome. For the interview, I'm talking to my good friend Jordan Rebman, who I believe I already said that, but Jordan Rebman of Sweet Ascent is also a very good friend of mine. I've known him for a good 3 or 4 years at least. I think we'll get into it a little bit in the conversation. But I think you're going to learn a lot. This conversation went in a little bit different of a direction than I thought it was going to, and it ended up being better than I could have even thought. And I feel like we covered a lot of important stuff, and we talked we talked about a lot of the controversy of being in a band or playing music and kind of depending on other people. But I think we've put it in a pretty positive light, and I'm really, really happy with just his perspective on all of the negative things that can happen in when you're trying to pursue music, and how you can turn it around and use it to your advantage and make it a good thing. And I'm really, really happy with this conversation. So here it is. Hope you guys like it. All right. So basically, I think we've had this conversation before, but I want to start out with talking about the kind of beginning stages, or whatever you would call the beginning of your music career or music endeavors. Let's just start there, man. Let's talk about it.
Dude, I'm a weird one because, like, I didn't start doing much. I mean, like, I played guitar since I was a little kid. Never been that good at it. Can get by, but I never was outstanding or anything. Mm-hmm. And, like, both my parents are really, really musical. Like, my mom was literally she was literally a piano performance major.
Wow.
In college, yeah. She did a lot with that degree.
So she shreds piano.
Yeah, she used to. She doesn't play as much anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did. She did a bunch of, like, when I was, like, in, like, elementary school and stuff. She did a lot of, like accompanying for, like, kids choir stuff and junk like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. But I just kind of never did much with it, and then, like, I had my first breakup. Like, everybody has your first breakup, and that motivates you if you're a musician to start writing songs.
Yep.
And so I literally did. I wrote my first, like, I always wrote little, like, ditties and, like, little stuff, but I never had, like, a finished product until that. And I wrote, like, a full song or whatever and liked it. And then then after that, I just started doing a lot of songwriting. And then I, like, my junior year of high school, I got forced to join choir. Literally forced, because our choir director heard me sing, and he was like, "You're joining choir." Because we just didn't have... I went to a tiny school, you know?
What grade was that?
When I was a junior.
Oh, okay.
In high school. And we didn't... A tiny school, we didn't have very many male singers, so he heard me sing, and he was like, "You're joining choir." And I was like, "Does that mean I'm good?" And then I guess I was decent, so I started singing all the time. Next thing I knew, I was, you know, like, leading a musical and junk like that. And I was writing music like crazy, and then I was doing, like, this acoustic thing, and I signed a quote-unquote record deal with a little record label that actually my dad sent me the article yesterday that label, and, like, they're like a book publisher. They're I gotta find it. They're like, the heads of their company were arrested for, what was it? It was embezzlement and extortion.
Whoa.
Yeah, Dad sent me that yesterday, and I was like, whoa.
Sure that wasn't Victory Records?
No, it wasn't Victory Records. It was more slimy. This it was called Tate Publishing, and they were a book publisher, and they like the record label side was a much smaller thing. Their main thing was book publishing.
Yeah.
So I think that's more what that's attached to. But so I did that, and I recorded a little album, and didn't do anything with it. I learned a lot, though, from just, like...
They actually, like, paid you to go in it, or not paid, but, like, booked studio time for you.
Yeah. I
that's
went
cool.
and recorded in a studio in Oklahoma, and did that, and yeah, I still have it. I have a bunch of copies. The minimum order of CDs I had to buy were like 300 or something like that.
Dang.
And
that's a lot for your first album.
I still have. I have 3 boxes at my parents' place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I sold like 60, like of the hard copies that I bought. I think I sold like 60 of them. Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 boxes of CDs in my parents' place. See, now I hear like a 300 CD order, and I think that's really small because we order them like way more than 300 at a time. But it's like, yeah, back then it was just crazy. And
so you started out writing like original music first? When, like...
No, I learned how to play a bunch of stuff. I did everything by ear, though. And so, yeah. And then I just started writing. And then after I started writing, I didn't really care about learning anything else, mainly because I wasn't good enough to play anybody else's stuff. I could only play my own.
Okay.
And so I did that. And then towards the end of my senior year of high school, which was when that whole tape music group thing was going down, I was doing that. My friend John and I, you know John, obviously, we just liked to make music, and we just wrote and recorded a song because he was doing like a little bit of recording, and it was pretty cool, and that was it. We just wrote and recorded a song. We released it on like YouTube, and
Which song was that?
It was a moment. It was The Moment I Knew That I Knew You, which was eventually became a Sweet Ascent song.
Oh, okay.
So then I went off to college. And when I came back for like Christmas break or whatever,
Yeah.
I hit up John and I was like, "Yo, let's do another song for fun. Moment was really fun and people dug it. Let's do another one." And we made in like 2 days, wrote and recorded "If Life Could Just Move On," and then released that, and people dug it even more than they dug "Moment." And I was like, and I liked it a lot. I was like, "This is good," and so I was like, "Huh." It's like, this is cool. So then I kind of...
So did you and John live in the same town at
we were neighbors.
Oh, you were neighbors.
I grew up right next to John, and then at this point,
and that was here.
It was out by Baldwin, but yeah,
Baldwin. Okay,
yeah, just out. It's a little. If you go out south of town, there's just this little like country cul-de-sac, and my house was the first one on the left. And then if you drive up the cul-de-sac, John's house is down there. That's actually where, that's his parents still live there. My parents don't, but his parents still live there.
I didn't know that you guys were.
Yep.
You grew up together.
Yeah.
I figured you met in school or like high school.
That's how we didn't go to school together. That's how we became friends. We just played basketball and fished and did neighbor stuff, and literally just like called each other and biked over the other kid's house. So I kind of tricked John, because I wanted to maybe potentially try to like start a band with him, and John didn't really have much interest, I don't think, in starting a band with me. I don't know if that's true or not, but it kind of seems that way. And so I was like, dude, let's record an EP and release it and just do that and call it good. And he was like, yeah, that's cool. So we finished 3 more songs over the course of a couple months, because I was in college over by Wichita. So whenever I was back, we laid down another song, and that was what became Their Stories. And we just picked a random name, decided on Sweet Ascent just to call it something. Took some really crappy promo photos of John and I on the roof of the Jazz House.
The roof of the Jazz House.
Yeah. There's a staircase back there, and there's like this building that has like zebra print on it, and that's where we were by.
That's cool.
And then that's what became Their Stories, and we released it in June of 2012. And that was supposed to be it. It was just supposed to be that. And then people liked it. Not like a ton, obviously, but enough of our friends and stuff dug it and liked it a lot that we were like, I don't know, maybe we should try to like start an actual band. And so we started looking for members and stuff, and we started putting the pieces together, and the next thing you know, we booked a show, and then it was like, okay, now we really have to have members. And so we found people, and I was living in Nebraska at that point, and so I was commuting back and forth. We started practicing, and we played our first show in November. It was the Friday after Thanksgiving. Okay.
Do you know what year?
2012.
2012.
Yep, 2012.
Okay. So it's been, 5 years?
Coming up on 5 years.
Almost 5 years?
4.5 right now. Yep.
Nice.
So we played our first show, and then next thing I know, we had another show booked. And then 2013 was a lot of just local shows, things like that. We had the thing that was cool about Sweet Ascent was we never ever wanted to be like a jam band. It was like John and I both had been in bands and like done music stuff, and it was like the moment we started doing stuff with Sweet Ascent, we were like, this is cool. This is cooler than like a lot of our other stuff. And we were like, let's go for it. And so we just kind of hit the ground running, and we went for it, and we started. I have never played a show in my life without merch.
Yeah. So you guys went all out from the beginning.
Yeah, we had a CD, our first show ever, because we put out the CD before we ever were even like playing shows. So we had a CD. Then the next show we had stickers. The next show we had 1 shirt. The next show we had 2 shirts. You know what I mean? It was just like, so like whenever I talk, I know I've talked to you before when you were working on stuff with Better Ideas in the early days, and like I don't know like if I'm giving somebody advice, I don't know how to give them advice. You don't know if they don't have merch, because I haven't experienced it. I don't know. I don't know what to do without it. You know what I mean? Like that was we relied so heavily on selling people CDs and stuff like that I like to make sure people remembered who we were. I mean, we always had stickers, and we were always like, everybody that was at a show, we were giving them out to people. It's just something to maybe help people remember who we were.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and then we just kind of started doing it, you know, and in 2013, we got to go to Iowa and like play a festival, and it was just, and you know, we didn't have a van or anything. We just kind of were just rolling with whatever we could do, whatever we could roll with. We usually, Dustin and Mikey both had Ford Explorers, like 90s model Ford Explorers.
So you just had the Caravan.
We had a blue one and a white one, and that's what we went with. And then John's wife had a minivan, and so we frequently, Ann let us use that minivan all the time. And we would when we went and did that festival, we had all of the gear in the minivan, and then the people were in the Explorer. And Dustin actually had to drive back. We drove to Iowa, played the set, and Dustin had to drive back because he had to get back to work by like 3 a.m.
Dang.
Yeah, we did.
Dustin's the drummer, by the way.
Yeah, Dustin was the old drummer.
What up, Dustin? Now he's a photographer, doing his own thing.
But so we did all that, and then we got a van in the end of 2013. It was a piece of junk. Oh my lord! But we got it for free. We went and worked for my girlfriend Lene's dad. We worked for her dad. He was just offering to pay us some money because he needed some work done. And I told him, I was like, I don't want your money. I want that van. And he was like, yeah, okay, we can do that. So he gave us the van in exchange for a weekend of work.
I wish I could find a deal like that.
Yeah, and it got the job done. You know, we played a bunch of shows. We went to a few different states in it, and then when we had our first, like, when we were ready to start touring, quote unquote, we had our first tour booked in May of 2014. My dad was the one that was like, "You're going to tour in that van," and we were like, "We don't have a choice, you know, like." We've got to do it, and this is what we have. And so him and my grandpa got together and found us a better van and gave us a loan to get it because they didn't trust old Kendrick is what we named the old van. They didn't trust Kendrick to get
What kind of van was the first one?
It was a 96 Ford conversion van.
Okay, like an Econoline?
Yep,
okay.
Econoline 150. It had a transmission problem. And it wouldn't downshift, like when you were like going up like a hill. It would like rather than downshift, it would feel like you were on rumble bars. And it was terrifying. So you just had to like.
It just had really low RPMs. Like,
yeah. You just had to
trucking up the hill.
You just had to baby it. You had to push the gas down just enough so that it wouldn't downshift, but it would still go up the hill.
Okay. Because if it downshifted, did it just like go crazy? Or
yeah. It wouldn't downshift. It would literally it would just rock and it would just like be stuck. And so, and it couldn't pull a trailer. And so we had all of our gear in it. We pulled out the back seat. We had 4 seats for 5 guys, and we had all the gear up to the back of the seats.
That sounds like touring
couldn't
hell
see,
right
couldn't
there.
see out the windows.
Yep.
And one guy had to sit on the floor. It was miserable. We didn't use it that much though. We didn't do any full tours in it. And then we got Delilah, which was our van until a couple months ago was our van. And
Delilah was sick.
Yeah, Delilah was cool. And then we started touring in May of 2014 and kind of just did the damn thing. Just kind of kept going. And, so that's kind of the early beginnings.
Dude.
A very long, long way of saying it. But
that's awesome. That was one question, and I wish I could do that with every interview.
7 hours later, this interview
it's cool.
is done.
Okay, so one thing I want to talk about, since we got the beginning, and... So where I came in was, I first met you guys in your
2014.
Something like that, a couple years ago, and you guys were kind of just getting that momentum going.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it, at least from where I was at. Yeah. I don't know much about you guys before I knew you, but you guys seemed like you were just like full on. Like that's when you started touring heavily, and that's when you put out Fed Up. And that whole EP, right?
Fed Up was just a single. Hopeless Dreamers came out.
Hopeless Dreamers.
I didn't even include Hopeless Dreamers in that whole synopsis. Hopeless Dreamers came out in November, or maybe September, I don't remember which, of 2013.
Okay.
Yep.
And
I don't know how I didn't include that in there.
And that's with John?
That was with John.
Okay.
Yes.
That was the last one with
yes.
John.
Hopeless Dreamers was John, Mikey, Dustin, and me.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was Bobby. While Bobby is one of the original members, he had like a 6th or 8th month hiatus. He calls it his what is it? It's like when he had to go find himself.
No.
Or something. And he actually ended up
or something.
Yeah, he moved to Chanute, Kansas, and was like working, and he literally did. He just kind of, he had just graduated high school because he's a little younger than me. He's 2 years younger than me, and he that's always his joke. He went to go find himself, and we ended up. It's amazing that we didn't actually ever find a full-time guitar player. We had a fill-in for a while, and he just wasn't the right fit. And so then when Bobby wanted to come back, we were like, okay, yeah. So while Bobby's an original member, he didn't actually record on Hopeless Dreamers.
Oh, okay.
That EP on.
So is that
Fed Up?
just
He did. Yeah.
John?
Yep. John did all the guitars.
Okay.
And then Kevin, the producer, he'll be like, give me the guitar, and he'll take it and lay something down and then give it back, you know. But yeah, and then so when you met us was right around Fed Up. That was July of. It was the day before Warped Tour of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Like 30th or something like that.
That's awesome. You remember a lot of specific dates. I feel like when you're in a band, you get good at that kind of stuff.
None of the other guys are. None of the other guys know. None of the other guys know.
Well, okay, when you manage the band, as long as you
that's
have.
also that's how my brain works too. I'm very I remember.
See, because
somebody who remembers things so well, I sure forget a lot of stuff. But
I was trying to remember like how we all first met because I know RJ introduced me to you guys.
You literally RJ came over to just like hang out or whatever, and you were just with him
at your house.
Yep, at my apartment. Okay. My apartment, me and Dustin's apartment.
Yeah, I totally remember that.
Yep, and it was just, hey, dude. We always have like our doors are always open. You know what I mean? And like, RJ came over to just chill or whatever. He was in town because he might have still been living in like Tongi or something at that point. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he was.
But and he was in town, so he was just like, hey, I'm gonna come over and chill. We were like, cool. And he brought you, and we just all sat around and talked for a few hours.
Good old RJ.
That's how I met you.
Love that dude. Okay, so you guys got John, you got Hopeless Dreamers out, you're killing it, and then I go on tour with you guys, and you text me, and we, so that would have been about a year later then. So that would have been 2 years ago.
It was April 2015.
Okay, April of 2015, I get a text from you, and you're like, hey, you want to come run merch and check it out? Because, I'm still trying to get my band touring. So I'm always up for the opportunity to just like learn as much as I can and go on tour, and I'm still up for that. But a lot of crap went down that tour.
Yeah,
it was interesting, and it was a cool opportunity for me. I got to stay in Delilah with you guys, that cool RV van. But I remember, and I don't know if this is good for a podcast, but I remember talking to Alex and the night we were in Indiana, and he's playing bass, and he's like, man, like, I just don't know if this is like what I want to be doing. Like, you know, I'm playing bass, and he's just a shredder on guitar, so he's just built to play guitar. And so he seemed a little iffy, and then John quit. Like,
Alex quit first.
Alex quit.
Yep, I will. Here, I'll run you through this timeline.
I just kind of caught a little bit of it, but you know, I was like the new guy, and I didn't know anybody except for you, really, at the time. Like, I barely knew John. I just kind of bumped into everyone with you, but I know you better than anyone else in the band. So.
I will run you through this timeline.
Okay, yeah, because this is what I even wrote down: the beginning and almost end,
and the beginning and the fateful time, the dark ages.
Bobby I think it's important to talk about these trials because
Bobby and I call 2015 the dark ages.
Okay, yeah, it was a dark age for sure.
Okay, so the end of 2014, we go on this national tour, national buy-on. We're on top of the world, playing to like 150, 200 people a night. There were a couple bad nights,
which is really good for a punk band, by the way.
Yeah, and a small band, a very very small band. We were we were way too small to be on.
From Lawrence, Kansas.
We had people ask us all the time on that tour, like, "How'd you guys get on this?" And we were like, but and so we do that, and that was amazing. We're on top of the world. We have all this momentum. We just feel great. Everything feels awesome. beginning of 2015, Dustin bows out. Dustin's like, it was all mutual. He got with us, and he was having some weird stuff going on in his life, and he was like, I got to get all this stuff handled, and I don't want to slow you guys down. So
That's
Dustin,
cool,
Dustin leaves. We replaced Dustin almost instantly with a guy named Reed, who was a good friend of ours in a different band. And Dustin literally texted Reed and was like, "Yo, I'm quitting. You should join." And Reed was like, "Yeah."
And Reed shreds.
Yeah,
too.
Reed was an amazing drummer, and so that was a minor detail. It was Dustin was gone, Reed was in, we were good to go. No big deal. No, didn't miss a step. Took us a while to start playing some shows in 2015, which was frustrating. But we were going to be recording an acoustic EP. We were going to be doing all this stuff, and then we play this huge show opening up for Beartooth. This sold out show.
Oh, that was during their basement tour too, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were. This one was in a bowling alley. It was in a bowling alley. The cap of the room was like 305, and there was like 350 in it, stuffed in it. Like it was just packed.
That's
and it was
amazing.
No stage. It was gnarly. But so we play that show. That's our first show of the year. A week later we go on that tour that you go on, and second to last day of that tour, Alex is like, "I'm done," and we're like, "Well, that sucks." But he wanted to do other stuff with his life, and he didn't really want to play bass. And we were like, "Okay, that really sucks, but all good." Literally, Alex quit. I got on the phone because we had more shows booked after Alex, like a couple weeks after that, and we were like, well, we got to play these. Let's find a bass player. Alex quit, and I called Zach, who you had on your podcast. And I was like, hey Zach, can you play bass for us for a few shows? Checks his calendar. I tell him all the dates. He goes, yeah, absolutely. Boom. We have Zach as a fill-in. We can handle this later. Then we play a few shows, play some rad shows. We played like a college show, played in Omaha, first time playing in Omaha, which is like our second home now. And then...
Wait, that was your first time playing in Omaha?
The one with Zach, yeah. It was crazy.
That's weird. I would have thought you guys would have played there a long time ago.
Yeah, we played Lincoln and we played Nebraska, but we'd never played Omaha.
Okay.
So then, during this, we had like 8 or 9 shows over the course of like a month and a half. No tours. They were just a lot of one-offs. They were a lot of really cool one-offs. And so we were doing those, and Zach was filling in for him. Before we're done with those shows, John texts everybody. He's like, hey, we need to have a meeting. We need to all get together and talk about some stuff. And just the way he was wording it, Bobby and I texted each other, and we were like, John's quitting. And sure enough, John did quit. His life was going in other directions. Him and his wife were moving to Kansas City, and just he's doing great now. So, but that was a huge blow because at that point, John was doing more than I was doing as far as like managing the band and booking and things like that. John was. At that point in the band, John was the backbone. I was the quote-unquote face, and I did all that stuff. I did like social media and stuff, but the behind-the-scenes stuff, John was the backbone. And so we were like, whoa. It was just all of a sudden, it was Reed, Bobby, and I. And
so would you say that he kind of was more of a manager? He
was,
the head?
He was, we all did some of that, and I did some, but yeah, John did all like the booking and all like... he handled a lot of stuff that nobody wants to handle.
He's a good facilitator.
Yeah, he did that. And so he quit, and we were like, wow, what the hell are we going to do? And then we decided to go, we were like, let's go record a single. I had a song ready to go, and I was like, let's get in studio and record. I call up Kevin, our producer, and I was like, when's the soonest you can get us in? He's like, I can get you in. It was in like 2.5 weeks. And I was like, yes. Let's get in, record a single, get music out so people know we're not dead because this is this is what's going to happen. And that whole plan didn't quite go how we wanted it to go.
Yeah.
We recorded What I'm Missing. We never actually released it as a standalone single because then, luckily, through those one-offs, we made a ton of money. Literally a ton for a tiny band. For a big band, but we made...
Which means $200.
More than that. We were walking home with like $1,000 at like more than one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, we played
amazing.
We played a show at Southwestern College, and the department, activities department, bought everybody that wanted a shirt. So literally, like we gave all these people shirts, kept a tally, and then they just wrote us a check for all the shirts. We gave them a deal on them. You know what I mean? Like since
wholesale.
Since they were buying that many, we gave them a deal on them for sure. But yeah, and
That's
so
very
so
cool.
yeah, so we had a lot of money, or not a lot. We had a decent amount of money, and we were like, okay, let's record an EP.
So
let's record a whole EP.
So at this point, your band has more money than you've ever had.
No members,
but
no
members, and booked shows. Right?
I remember one time because John played through. We knew John was quitting, and he finished out all the shows we had booked.
Mm-hmm.
He was awesome and was like, I will play everything, and he did. And I remember him and I were talking after one of them, and he was like, man, like right as I quit, we start making money. I was like, because we were so broke for so long, and then it's okay, we're still so broke, but John, if you're listening, we're still broke.
He's not. He works too much. John, quit your job. Finish our EP. Just kidding. Love you.
But and so then we record the rest. We write and record the rest of War. I wrote it mostly by myself, which I didn't love doing. It was just kind of what happened, and I had so much to get off my chest. I wrote War myself, and then we went and recorded that, got it done, getting everything ready to put out this album. Get a little tour booked to write it to release the album and go on tour. We find a fill-in guitar player. We're going to track bass, and it'll be Reed, Bobby, and I fill-in guitar player. That's it. We were trying to find a bass too, but we couldn't find that. We had that all lined up. Our friend Jake from Wisconsin was going to come play guitar for us. Mm-hmm. He was playing guitar in a band in Wisconsin at that point, and we played shows with him in one of his old bands. He was going to come play guitar for us. We get that all lined up. We get that all figured out. Mm-hmm. Like 2 weeks before tour, 2.5 weeks before tour, Reed calls us and he's like, I can't do it, guys. He decided he couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. We were like, so now we don't have a drummer. It is just Bobby and I. We're the only permanent members in this band. What is going on?
And this is 2 weeks before a tour?
2 weeks before this tour, yeah.
Wow.
We find a fill-in. He's stoked. We're like, okay, all's good. Fill-in calls me. Finds out fill-in can't do it. The fill-in guy can't do it. And I'm like, okay. But he's like, but I got a friend that should be able to call him up. We call up a guy by the name of Brandon Thomas, who goes by Bam. Mm-hmm. This just insane rap producer from Kansas City. And he was like, yeah, I think I can do it. I don't think... Bam had no idea what he was getting.
And he's a drummer?
Yeah, he's a very good drummer.
Oh, okay.
Very good drummer. I don't think Bam had any idea what he was getting into. And he filled in for a week of the tour. Then we had a few days off. We found a different fill-in for 3 other days.
Dang.
And then we had a hometown show, and neither of our fill-ins could do it. And Dustin Warden came back and played that show.
Yep, I was at that show.
Yep.
That was awesome.
So we literally had, over the course of like 9 shows, over the course of 3 weeks, we had 3 drummers.
It's amazing that you guys were able to actually play all of those shows, though.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was stressful.
A couple of them were bad.
Yeah.
That first Omaha show, War's release day, we were in Omaha, day 1 of tour, and it was terrible. It was still to this day the worst show Sweet Ascent's ever played. I mean, it was terrible. And then, so we got done with that tour, and we were like,
Take a break.
Take a
breather.
But then we were working with a publicist, and she was like, I need a music video. And we were like, okay, let's make a music video. We only have 2 members.
Okay, so this is when you signed management.
Not quite yet.
Oh, okay.
Not quite yet.
It was a little soon after that? Okay.
Soon. I'm getting there.
I'm getting the timeline down a little bit.
We were like, well, Jake is actually a drummer, not a guitar player. Mm-hmm. He's not that great of a guitar player. He'll be the first person to tell you this. He basically knew how to play Sweet Ascent songs and the songs of his bands, and that was it. And
more of a rhythm guy.
He's a very good drummer. Very good drummer.
Yes.
The only reason he was playing guitar in that other band was just because they didn't need a drummer, so he just wanted to be in a band, and in a new band. And so we were like, Jake was living in Madison, Wisconsin. I call him up. I was like, Jake, you want to come be in a music video? Yeah, sure, I can. You want to play drums in it? Yeah, sure, I can. Oh, yeah, we also need a placeholder for the other guitar. All right, I'll bring my friend Will. Jake and Will come down. Jake plays drums. And while Jake was in Lawrence for that music video, we were like, do you want to join this band? Do you want to be the drummer of this band? He was like, yes. So then we take the rest of 2015 off, those next couple months, plan out some tours, and hit 2016 super, super hard.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the dark ages of 2015. I didn't include a lot of, like, it was horrible. We had all this momentum, and it all went away, and, like, oh, it was brutal. You can see, you can look at pictures of Bobby and I in 2015, and we just don't look right. Like even just like not even like band pictures, just any pictures. Like you can see what stress does to your body by looking at pictures of Bobby and I. I mean, we look like shit. I mean, we're just terrible.
Dude, I mean, I just being a bystander, like I wasn't super involved in the whole situation, but just seeing all of that and like catching the very beginning of the end, or the beginning of whatever that was, that dark age,
the beginning,
on the tour, and then not like really talking to you guys, but just kind of seeing it from a distance and just seeing you guys basically go through hell, and then putting out War though.
Yeah. And
that's when I heard War, I was like, dude, this is raw. Like this is the most authentic thing I've ever. Like, no offense, but I've never heard Jordan do something so
I'd never done
real.
Anything like it, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, and that's why it's my favorite thing you've done so far. But, yeah, man, like, I'm glad you guys made it through that, because it seemed like a rough time.
Sometimes there are some days I wish we would have just called it quits, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with it, too. And then we didn't get fully back to full strength until about July of 2016. So like we had all these plans after April of 2015. All these plans, everything to go on. We even went and recorded an EP, all this stuff, but we did not actually get back to being a full strength rebuilt band until July or August of 2016. Took so much longer than I thought it would. I thought it would be just a quick, easy process. I thought it would be like find a few members. You know, we were in that awkward size. I remember one time I talked to you about this. We were in this awkward size where we were too, quote unquote, big for a lot of like your local scene people that aren't ready to commit to touring and aren't ready to commit to like being broke as can be and things like that. We were too big in that sense, which I hate saying that because we're a tiny, useless band.
Well established.
But yeah, we were well established but we were also not established enough that whenever I talked to musicians that had done it more or had been in, they would ask me things about like where the band was, and I'd tell them, and they'd be like, I'm not looking to start a project, but get involved with the project that's not farther along.
See, that's so weird, because I literally feel like we're in a similar spot where we have to find people who have basically never done it before. Because, like, anyone who's done it more than us has done it way more than us. Like, you guys. Obviously, I'm not going to steal Jake from you, because it's not, it's not better.
And that's how how we started, I mean, we started when none of us knew what the hell we were doing. We just kind of did it, But then the other weird thing that kept happening was I had people show all this interest that were, like, from, like, the Lawrence local scene or whatever, and they thought we were bigger than we were. They were asking me, like, oh, well, how much money are you guys making, this and that? And I was like, none.
Dang. Oh, hang on. I think the computer just froze. I made a mistake. Oh, we're good. It's still going.
Wow, look at that. But
amazing.
yeah,
we might have lost a snippet of that. I don't really know.
I'll repeat
We'll see.
But yeah, like they'd ask, like, when like I told them the realities of touring, the realities of like how we weren't making any money and all this, they were like, wait, what? People apparently actually thought that we were like killing. I was like, yeah, that's why I work that's why I work at a sandwich shop when I'm home, because I'm making so much money off my band. Yeah. And we were doing good, but people just don't realize just how long it takes in a band to start making money, and like how much of a process it is. And so it was so frustrating. We just could never find any members for a while.
And also people don't realize how much you have to fake it till you make it. When you're in a band, it's all about that, social media presence and putting yourself out there and trying to look like a real band, so people take you seriously. So then people think that you're something you're not sometimes, and that can definitely be misleading.
But it took a while. It took a long time. It was, like I said, it was a lot of stressful, sleepless nights. There was quite a few where just wanted to give up and call it quits. Bobby talked me off the cliff a couple times. So, but
does that have anything to do with the song "The Cliff"?
No, I wrote the cliff the night John quit.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
It was never supposed to be heard. It was just I was venting. I mean, that's what, like, the lines of the song are 2 years have passed, the faces changed. The words I wrote to you have never felt the same, because I wrote all these songs about, being hopeful and dreaming and chasing your dreams, and I watched it all blow up in my face. And so I didn't care about dreams, you know what I mean? And that's what caused that lyrical shift, was growing up a little bit. Not that I still don't tell people to chase their dreams, but being more realistic about things. And yeah, I wrote The Cliff that night, and it was just me venting out frustrations,
Yeah. See, I think that, like, pressure makes diamonds,
Yeah.
And, like, what happened when the band was in this really bad spot is it put you under so much pressure that I think it just kind of, like, forced you to be the most authentic version of yourself that you had been in a while. And it definitely just, it made a great EP. And, like, I think it's important to look back on those, like, really bad, crappy times and, like, appreciate it.
Yeah,
because it made war.
Yep.
And it is gonna make your guys' next couple albums, and, like, the hard times, I think, are what we can attribute some of our greatest works to. A lot of the time.
Yep. And it's, looking back at it, there was a lot of me just being, like, over dramatic about things, but, like, that it's what happens to bands. It's what happens to basically every band. It's very, very rare that there are bands that haven't had any member changes. Just usually all of those changes happen before anybody ever knows who you are. And for us, if we keep growing, it'll be the same way. You know what I mean? Like, if we keep growing as we like to and as we have been, then it's just, everybody will know Sweet Ascent as Bobby, Jordan, Alex, and Jake. They won't know these guys' other names. We will.
Let's hope so. Those guys better stick around, because your guys' lineup is amazing. I love every member of your band right now. Like, it's a great lineup.
We love it too. That's why we haven't been rushing to get a bass player, because it's not broke right now. So we're just kind of letting it ride.
Not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, but like, that's so that's one thing I have to, like, remind myself. And now it's all good, but during that time, it was really rough. Like, having people that did know us, asking, where's so-and-so, where's this person, why is everybody leaving? Now we have so many people that, like we've established ourselves again. We basically, we had to rebuild. We had to totally cut it down to bare bones, rebuild, and basically rebrand. We basically restarted the band. We just kept the name Sweet Ascent. Like, for all intents and purposes, that's what we did. Like, we could have changed the name and still be doing exactly what we're doing now. But we kept the name because we wanted to keep salvage whatever we could from what we had built before that. But yeah, there's hardly anything even remotely similar to the old Sweet Ascent other than me and Bobby. I mean, it used to be we at least still had the same van and all that, same van and trailer. We have a different van and trailer now, so it's like there's basically nothing left of the old Sweet Ascent. Which I like that. I don't like living in a shell of the past. I like letting that Sweet Ascent be that Sweet Ascent. That was the one with John and all that. Some of my best friends in the world, and we had the time of our lives. And that band can stay that band. And it's
a new chapter.
This entity of Sweet Ascent, which I think has more potential than any of the other ones. But yeah, so it's kind of fun. We it took a while to do that, but we really did. We separated ourselves from what we were, so people don't even really compare old Sweet Ascent to new Sweet Ascent.
Well, and it seems like whenever bands go through huge changes like that, and everybody's roles change, and then it becomes a different thing. Like our band is kind of going through something similar right now, where our roles, we're kind of figuring out what everyone's actually doing here, And I feel like I'm really, from a distance, just proud of Bobby for because I mean, I don't know for sure, but it seems to me like he really stepped up when John quit and, like, helped you kind of keep things together.
Yep.
And it seemed like he was kind of an anchor in that situation.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's cool.
I owe a lot to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, Alex leaving and then coming back, he became just like he became a new person as far as like being a band member. You know what I mean? Like he went and did his thing and discovered what he thought was important to him, and came back. So, and like now, as opposed to he was just the bass player in somebody else's band, now it's like he has ownership with all of us of the band, you know what I mean? So it's just cool. And like we all feel you and I were talking about this just the other day, and like we all just feel really cool about where we're at.
It seems like everyone's like trying to contribute what they can.
Yep,
and
everyone's
like, what
contributing
they're
a
good at.
ton. It's great. You know what I mean? Like I the confidence that I thought I used to have in my band doesn't even compare to the confidence I have now. Like it's kind of funny to almost think about like how confident I was in what it used to be like compared to now. Because I look back now and I'm like, yeah, if that band would have stayed together, they would have crumbled, and it wouldn't have. I don't think it would have worked.
So do you think that was due to those roles, sort of like you and John kind of ran things, and mostly John? And so do you think that just having that pressure and kind of an uneven amount of balance in the band kind of could be part of some of those issues? And then
yes,
like now it just seems like you guys all, you know what you want to do for the band.
I think a lot of it too is that old unit we had different ideas for what we all wanted the band to be. You know what I mean? What John wanted for the band was not necessarily what I wanted for the band. What Dustin just went with the flow, but like you know what I mean? Like what Bobby wanted for the band wasn't necessarily what I wanted or what John wanted, and so there was a lot of compromising for the sake of the band, and that made it so I don't think we all loved it as much as we should have. And like now, what we are doing right now is exactly what all four of us want to be doing musically, personality wise, like the branding, everything. It is what we want. So it's pretty cool. It's a very cool thing compared to what it used to be. Yeah.
So you think as a frontman, did you have to like give up some control in order to let that happen?
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And that because it was weird because I didn't have tons of control originally, and then I controlled everything, and then now I've given up a lot of songwriting control, just a lot. We do things together. We do things together.
So you're letting like Bobby and Alex write guitar parts and sending them back.
Yeah, they're
and
better
forth
guitar
and
players than me. They're writing. Bobby and Alex are writing almost all of the music. I'm focusing on what I'm best at, which is lyrics and melodies.
And
that's always been what I am best at.
And from what I've heard, that has helped you kind of help find your voice even more.
Yeah. It's so like it's been, and we do a little bit of everything now. Like we've got some new stuff that Bobby wrote. Literally sent us the completed track or whatever, like guitar wise, and then we have stuff that Alex wrote the whole thing, and then we have ones that we all came together. We have ones that Bobby and Alex literally they both had a free day and they went over to Bobby's house and they'll send me a scratch track of something they wrote, and so we have a lot of different. Everybody's involved. Everybody's very, very involved with it, and it's really, really cool. I like it more. I like it a whole lot more.
It feels like a new thing for sure.
Yeah, it feels new, but it still feels like us, and
just as lovable.
And you're just gonna be able to everybody has a voice now. You know, like you can hear Bobby in the songs. You can hear Alex in the songs. You can hear Jake in the songs, and you can hear me. As opposed to it used to just be everybody playing my voice. You know, which sometimes was really cool, and sometimes was not as cool. And so it's pretty fun.
I feel like it's hard when you're trying to be a band versus being Beartooth. You know? And like that's kind of where I've been at, is in that weird medium stage where I'm still writing basically everything and having to teach it to the rest of the band, and trying to get to that point where you're at, where we're all just kind of doing what we're best at. And I'm trying to make that transition a little bit and trying to give up some of my attachment, because it's really hard to let people like mess with your songs.
It's very, very hard to let people. One thing that I learned is has a lot to do with trust. It's because when everybody. One thing that had me so freaking angry in just the whole year of 2015 was what I had literally thrown my life away to do blew up in my face through no fault of my own. Mm-hmm. People just had to leave. And my life is somewhat in their hands. You know what I mean? As opposed to if you're doing everything, you can just plug and play whatever members and you're fine. But and so that was the plan. Was basically after everybody left I was just going to do it all, plug and play. It was going to be Bobby and I, and we'd find members, but they wouldn't have any control. But just when this group got together, when this unit, these 4 people that we have now, when we all got together, there was just so much more trust, and so that plan that I had quickly faded away on its own without me. It was never intentional that it did fade away, but it just did, And so it's like. It's cool. It's a cool thing, but it's not always what happens. Not every band is the same. Some bands are run by 1 person. Some bands are run by 2 people. Some are run by 3. Some are run by 4, and nobody listens to one guy. It's whatever works for your band or whatever your creative outlet is. Whatever works, I'm all for it, as long as it works and everybody knows. Everybody knows what is going on. Everybody is up front. Where there's issues are when, and these are some issues we used to have, are when. You have 1 or 2 people running everything, and they're not explicitly telling people, hey, I'm running everything, you're going to do what I'm telling you to. When everybody thinks they're in charge, but actually 1 or 2 people are, that's how big arguments start.
And that sort of discontentment.
Yep.
Wow.
That's the same way with everything. It's the same way if you're running a Subway. It's the same thing, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to be in charge, make sure people know you are, so that people can. I think mindset is huge. Like if I know this person's going to walk in, tell me what to do, and I have to do it, I'm just going to do it, and that's fine. If I don't think that they should be telling me what to do, but they still walk in and tell me everything to do, human nature, I'm going to be like, I don't have to listen to what you're trying to tell me to do.
Yeah. And that, or you do it anyways, but you don't like it, and so you're not really going to put your heart into it.
Yep.
And that's not good for any band.
Yep, same concept, really. And bands are the same way. And
so what you're saying is it's important to establish roles and kind of let everyone do what they're good at. Yeah.
Yeah, don't force people to do what they aren't good at. Let people do what they are good at. Bobby is the advertising man. He whatever he does when it comes to sending out emails and phone calls to companies and radio stations and things like that, it just works. He's landed us a lot of radio spots.
He knows what to say.
He's gotten us a lot of gear endorsements and things like that, and it's just.
Oh yeah! Congratulations on the ESP endorsement, by the way, Alex and Bobby. You guys are sick.
That was
because you play ESPs now, and that is really cool.
Alex has always played ESP.
Yeah. Okay, but now you do it to advertise for them. That is so cool.
Yeah, Bobby's so good at that, and so it's like I let Bobby do that, I want Bobby to do that because he gets better results than me, and so it's
that's very humbling to hear you even say that though.
Yeah,
that I bet 2 years ago you might have had trouble admitting that.
I probably would have. Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah. To a degree, with certain things.
Yeah. Well, okay, that wouldn't have been true, maybe.
Yeah.
But it seems like you guys have just kind of grown into your roles, and
I'm not a kid in a band anymore. You know what I mean? When I started this thing, I was 19. I'm 24 now. It's like I'm not a little kid driving around the country trying to do music. I'm, I guess, a quote-unquote veteran. I know true veterans will be laughing at me for saying that, but it's like we used to be these upstart kids that...
5 years for a band, though, this time, in our generation, that's hard to do, because the music industry is not what it used to be.
5 years to be in a band as small as my band. That's the hard thing.
Yeah, 5 years being in a band that hasn't blown up
It just means I'm stupid.
It just means you're persistent, man. It
means I'm stupid.
I don't think so. I think it means that you're doing what you love and you're going to do it whether it makes money or not, and that's charismatic, and I think that's what makes things work. The moment you stop caring about what other people think, I think is when people start caring.
Yeah.
And it seems like you guys have kind of done that, where you focused less on trying to put yourself out there and become the next big thing, and more on, like, how can we just keep this raw and authentic and, like, moving? Like, so you've had to kind of change your focus on yourself in your band, and I really like what it's done.
Yeah, I like it too. There's definitely also a degree of, because we had the total reset, I'm more willing to give it a longer go. Mm-hmm. If it was still the same old band as it was, and we were still, doing all DIY tours and things like that, I probably would have hung it up by now. Mm-hmm. But because we had that year off, and then like just that total rebuild, like I said earlier, it's like a new band now. So now it's like I'm so much more passionate about making this band work. So we'll see. I don't know. I feel like things are going well.
Okay,
we'll see where it all ends up.
What's the next step for you guys? What do you
next up?
What's the future of Sweet Ascent look like?
New music soon. New project of some form soon, and then.
So we should be keeping our eyes out for that announcement.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We've got a new single coming out this month, so.
And I got to be a part of that music video.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. That was a new experience for me.
That's phase one.
Yeah. I'll probably talk. I might re-record the intro because I mentioned it, but so last Monday, I just switched my work schedule so I could do more podcasting, and like I'm trying to transition my life into more creativity and less real life, less American dream, more Dakota dream, basically. So I switched it, so I'm trying to get as many hours as I can within 4 days at my day job, and the other 3 days of the week I'm just trying to focus as much energy as I can on things like this podcast and just writing music, and just trying to be more focused on the art itself and less on the band, or like what you did. Like, I'm trying to focus more energy on this right here than everything else, And so I have the day off, and I get a text from you, and you're just like, "Hey, our guy bailed."
First text was just, "What are you doing today?"
Yeah, what are you doing today? And I thought, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna invite him over, and we're gonna do a podcast."
That's what you thought.
Yeah, that is what I thought. I'm glad we're getting to it now, and I'm glad we didn't that day, because I got to try to be an actor for a day, and it was fun. I'm really excited. Can you say when that video's coming out yet, or have you not announced that either? It's fine if not.
I have
if you
the
can't name a
date
day
on my phone, but
okay.
I'm gonna hold off.
We can't
on
say
that.
it.
I'm gonna
keep
hold
your
off
eyes
on that
peeled
soon.
because I got to help with a project with the Sweet Ascent video.
It is this month, though.
Yeah, and it will be out later this month.
The date will be announced soon.
Okay, that's good to hear.
I'm gonna hold off on that one.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited for that video though. Like, that was just such
coming together really, really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had that actor bail, or not bail. he had car troubles and couldn't get out there. And we were like, well, we got to find somebody. So
yeah, I just happened to live down the street.
Your acting prowess.
Yeah. I think it went all right.
It went great. It all looks great. Looks great. It's just about done.
Cool.
But yeah. So future plans. There's a lot of music tours, things like that. Just trying to keep doing the thing. It's just you kind of just have to grit your teeth and dig in and just do it. If you're not doing it, you're not going to go anywhere with it. And even people that we call one-hit wonder, or not one-hit wonders, like overnight sensations and stuff, they were still doing the thing. Like Justin Bieber got huge really quickly, but he also had a ton of YouTube videos and stuff online of him singing and that's how he was discovered. So I mean, even,
he also toured and like roughed it, just
even,
like anyone else.
Even like your overnight sensations, quote unquote, they were still. You have to be doing it. People think, for some reason, people think you can just not be doing it and somehow. And that's more than music. That's anything in life. People for some reason think that they can do something without doing anything. You know, and it's like if you want to make furniture. If you're not making any furniture, you can't sell any furniture. You know what I mean? Like, and then if you're really good at it and you make one chair, cool, you made one chair, but that's not doing anything else. You know what I mean? If you want to, if you want to cook and be a chef and you're not cooking for people, you're never gonna be a chef.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you're just whipping up like delicacies at home and you're eating them by yourself, it doesn't matter how good of a chef you are. You're not gonna get hired anywhere, and you're not gonna do anything. It's just you have to do. You have to. That's like the most simple way to say it, and that's with so much. That's one of the number one things I've learned from doing this band thing was you have to do it. And it sucks, but you just gotta do it.
I actually wrote something down like that the other day. I wrote the way out is the way through. Like, it's kind of a similar idea. That whole, like if you want to do something, and like to get to the other side of that goal, you have to go through it. It's the process. The process is the important part. Is the actual action itself of creating whatever it is that you're creating. And I think I'm learning that over the past couple of months, which is why I'm doing more than I've ever done creatively, is because I've kind of realized that you got to focus on yourself and your art if you really want other people to care about it. Because you can't focus on those other people before you have something to provide them and something to give them that's worth value. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is create something that's valuable that people can relate to and take something from.
And I will say too, if you're creating anything and you just want it for yourself, that's great. All power to you. I don't want to make it ever sound like I'm telling people to like not do that. Like some people, everybody has different goals for what they want to do. Some people they make their art, whatever form, music, anything, they do it. It's for themselves. You know what I mean? It's not for anyone else, and that's great. That's not what I like. That, but I'm talking about like the people. When I say that, I'm talking about the people that all they want to do is be in a band. All they want to do is tour and all that, but they just don't do it. And it's like, okay, cool, do it. Well, I don't know. I just can't do it. My life's not there.
I got a day job. I got bills to pay.
You have no idea how many people I've heard say like I'm getting there. I'm close to where I think I'll be able to do it. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? Like,
it's they're putting all the responsibility on this future thing that doesn't exist, instead of just focusing on like right now and actually doing what they want to do.
Yes, there is preparation that is involved with touring and doing that. There's getting your life prepared to do it to a degree, but it's just book the dates.
You're not ever prepared, are you?
Book the dates, get in a van, and start doing it, and learn on the road. You know? I mean, you get prepared by doing it. It seems like and like I said, you'll never quite be ready. I've been touring for 2.5, 3 years now, and my life still isn't totally ready for it. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just when the dates are there, you go and you do it. And if you don't want to tour, you just want to play music in your hometown. That's great. Do that. But like if that's what you're wanting to do it. You just send out a ton of emails, make it happen.
So is that your goal with this band? Is just to do it?
Yep. I want to go as far as Sweet Ascent will take me. I have no idea what that means. That could mean right now could be the farthest Sweet Ascent will ever take me, and that's all it's capable of taking me. And if that's as far as it can go, I'm content. I want to take Sweet Ascent as far as Sweet Ascent will go. I've always kind of said that, and I don't know if I ever truly believed it until recently, but it's just, I just want to keep doing it keep growing, and I want to see where it takes me, because, I mean, it's given me a life that I didn't ever think I could have. Even it may not be a glamorous life, but it's given me a life I didn't ever think I could have, you know? And it's given me, like, a joy and a fulfillment that I never felt before. So I don't know, just...
It's very rewarding.
As far as it'll take me, you know?
Cool, man.
That's kind of the plan. We'll
see. How can people contribute to that? What can people do to help? Where can they find you?
The number one thing you can do to help a small touring band is buy their music, listen to their music on Spotify, because Spotify does pay out.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit,
but it adds up. It adds up.
If you blow up,
we get money every month from Spotify. It adds up. Go to shows. Just support. Supporting is so important with everything, not even just bands. Like,
dude,
if your friend is doing something that they're passionate about, support. And
that's so important for people to hear.
Yeah.
If you are discontent with the music that you hear on the radio and you're not going to shows, you're part of the reason that music is not as enjoyable as it could be. If you want to hear good music, you got to support those bands in the beginning that aren't good yet. They might suck. Most local bands in Lawrence might not be as good as something you hear on 98.9. But some of them are amazing. There are amazing local bands, but not all of them. You're gonna go to a show at the Bottleneck or the Jackpot, and you might like some of the bands, you might dislike them, but even the ones you dislike, if you like those people, it's important to support music, I think, in general.
I think it is too. I think there's also a degree of support. I'm a big believer in support good music. I don't care if one person is listening or if 1 million people are listening. Support it if it's good. If somebody is amazing, don't hate on them because they are large, like not in size, but in like following size. Support what is good. You know what I mean? I love so many artists of so many different sizes, and just support what's good. But yeah, just like come out to shows, just support people. I've made it kind of one of my personal goals of this year is just to go to more things, to support more people. I've been trying to go to way more shows, just trying to support people. Just
contribute in your own way.
Yep.
So contribution, that's a good thing to hold to a higher standard.
And as somebody who's in a band, has been doing it for a while, like I don't think people realize just how much it means when people actually do come out to stuff. Especially like we have our fan base, and they come out to stuff, and sometimes I can't even get like some of my closest friends to come out to things. Here's a crazy one. I work at a sandwich shop when I'm not doing the band thing. I had our last big headliner in December. Our big, like, we do one big blowout headliner a year. I had a customer who comes into the sandwich shop like 3 times a week came to the show just because he saw a flyer, heard me talk about it. We talk a lot, and like this is like a 40 or 50-year-old dad came out to the show at like 9:30 at night and supported my band just simply because I'm nice to him and we have great conversations at a sandwich shop. I can get a customer at a sandwich shop to come to a show, apparently. Yeah. But some of your own closest friends don't go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just and that's I'm not saying that to call out friends. I understand busy life. I get all of that. It's just kind of crazy to think about, like, if you want to go out and support somebody, you can. It's you. It's a mental thing. You can make a million excuses. From being in a band for 5 years, I really should keep a list of some of the dumbest excuses I've ever heard for not coming.
You
to
could
shows.
Definitely make a list. You've heard at least thousands.
We had one of our last shows where somebody said that they didn't have money to go to the show, which I understand. But then they proceeded to say that they were staying in because they bought a bottle of liquor. And I was like,
there's liquor at the bar.
But more importantly, the money you just spent on that bottle would have got you into the show.
Yeah.
Which, again, if you want to stay and drink instead of going to a show, I'm fine with that. I don't care. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, don't give me excuses. You know what I mean? Just, no.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just be real. If you care, then care. If you don't care, that's okay too.
Yep.
Just support.
Don't pretend you do if you don't.
Yeah.
And just support. Support is huge.
Okay.
Especially for people in creative endeavors, they don't always. You don't know. Some people don't get any support from their family. I'm lucky enough that I do, but some people don't, and so it's like just support people.
So if your friends are doing something that you believe in and you think that you should be supporting them, then let them know that. Just tell them, like, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing because it's valuable.
Yeah.
And I think if I heard that more often as a musician, that'd be awesome. Like, I think every musician wants to know that what they're doing is helping somebody in some way.
Yeah.
So I think that is the best support. And it's not money. That's the thing, is it's not monetary. It's just, we just want to connect with people through our expression. That's what artists do.
Yeah.
We create something that's not tangible because we want to relate to people. And we want people to relate to the stuff that we wrote.
Yeah.
And, money is kind of a byproduct of that. But I think the most important thing is just being passionate about it and connecting with people.
Yeah.
And it seems like you guys are doing a lot more of that lately. And I'm excited to see your guys' future. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Should be a fun year. Should be a fun year for sure.
So where can people find you?
We're the only Sweet Ascent on the face of the planet. If you Google Sweet Ascent and you spell it correctly, you will find about 4 pages of us. You'll find...
So Sweet Accent.
Yep, Sweet Accent. I still get that. 5 years later, I still get that.
Yep.
Sweet Accent and The Sweet Ascent. Those are the 2 things I get all the time. And
Spotify, iTunes,
Facebook,
Apple Twitter,
Music, Rap City. Yeah, we're on everything.
You
Facebook,
name it.
Twitter, Instagram.
Jordan showed me TuneCore, so I know where all their music is.
Yep.
Well, I'd say an hour and 17 minutes is a little bit longer than I intended on going.
Is that the whole... Did you have it playing a little bit?
Yeah, it went a little bit.
Yeah, so it might be a little less than that.
But
sorry, I talk a lot.
No, this is awesome. This is one of my favorite episodes yet. Like, it's just more comfortable when I've known somebody for like a couple of years.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I needed this. So,
hell yeah.
Thanks for coming in, and
there it is, everyone. My interview with Jordan Rebman. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end if you're still here. I'm so happy with the way that conversation went, and I hope you guys enjoyed it because I learned a lot, and I took a lot from that conversation that I plan on applying to my own life and my own band, and I hope you guys took a lot from it too. A couple ways to get in touch with me. I'm using Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon for this podcast. You can just look up the Better Ideas podcast at any of them. My main site is going to be the Patreon one, though. I'm going to be putting the blog articles and everything else on the Patreon. So that'll be patreon.com/betterideas. And that's basically the only way to contribute to the show other than a like, share, or review. So if you feel like doing so, that would be awesome. If not, that's totally fine too. I hope you enjoyed the show either way. Have a good week, everyone.